Not so long ago on this channel, I told you how the BMW i3 electric car was an amazing vehicle, as well as being a poorly executed one all at the same time. For those who didn't watch the video, you can see it here, I focused on some of the clever things that BMW did with the i3, such as focusing on new, lightweight, lower cost construction techniques and using recycled materials, as well as some of the less clever decisions like that underpowered range extender as found in the i3 Rex. And I made the video in the first place because rumours were flying around that suggested the end of the road was near for the i3. At the time, I reported that BMW had confirmed that it would not be making a replacement for the BMW i3 when it ended production, and as a consequence, it was effectively deciding the i3 would be no more. Over the weekend, however, we got news on the i3 that confirmed BMW will be giving the i3 a new battery pack and that the car isn't going to be going anywhere yet. So, were we wrong? Did I speak too soon? Is BMW keeping the i3 around after all? Did I get my wires crossed? Were our sources wrong? No, possibly, maybe, no, and, well, it's a bit more complicated than all of that because BMW has just got a new CEO and his views are different to those of his predecessor when it comes to the i3. Don't worry, I'll explain, as well as detail why I think BMW keeping the i3 around is a very smart move. As is often the case, the devil is in the detail, and if you remember that earlier video, you'll note that I was a little vague on when the i3 would cease production because the news that BMW was getting rid of it was particularly vague. It wasn't saying that BMW was killing it completely, but just wasn't planning on making a new version. That's very different to, we're stopping production tomorrow and the i3 won't exist anymore. And a vehicle can stay in production for many years before it's finally withdrawn from sale. Granted, the i3 is getting a little long in the tooth in terms of original design, but many more cars out there have been made and sold for a lot longer period than the i3 has currently been in production. And that means that it could survive for several more years before it finally ends production, or, as the latest news seems to suggest, go on for even longer. You see, BMW's brand new CEO, Oliver Zipse, told a German newspaper over the weekend that, quote, "The i3 will continue to be produced, no question about it," adding, "The car is already an icon today. What car can claim this after only 6 years? Icons tick according to a different logic. They don't have a classic successor." Zipse's announcement was backed up by a BMW iBrand announcement on Facebook, in which the firm confirmed the i3 wouldn't be going to be dying anytime soon. But does this mean we're going to see a new, brand spanking new next generation i3? Well, that bit is uncertain. What we do know for sure, at least as sure as we can be, is that the i3 will be upgraded with a newer battery pack and potentially a new drivetrain. And I think that's a very good thing indeed, as it expands choice in the plug-in marketplace. From a business point of view, keeping the i3 around makes a lot of sense, especially if the construction equipment and construction methods used in the i3 aren't going to be used in any mainstream BMW models anytime soon. After all, why throw away a massive investment into carbon fibre reinforced plastic manufacturing if you could continue to produce the car or cars that are built using those techniques? It makes sense to keep the i3 and to some extent the i8 in production to ensure that BMW's return on investment is made when it comes to construction techniques. The i3 is also a great car to produce in an age where other automakers are experiencing supply issues getting lithium-ion battery packs. Because of its lightweight construction and incredible overall efficiency, it uses less energy to cover the same distance as, say, the Nissan Leaf or the Chevrolet Bolt EV. Using less energy means fewer batteries are required for a given range. And then there's the shared platform components. Rumour has it that the i3 shares a lot of its drivetrain and underlying components with a Mini Cooper SE, so keeping the i3 in production doesn't likely require a huge amount of extra investment from this point onwards for BMW. Finally, the i3, while not super popular in some markets, does have its fans. And while I'm guessing BMW's mainstream electrified models will ultimately get much more attention in the long term, the i3's small size and nippy powertrain does make it a great car for large cities, which of course is where it sells the majority of its i3s. It's good to see the i3 live a little longer, and while we don't know if the car will get a full replacement, it does seem to look like it will live on a little like the Mini, with minimal styling refreshers but the occasional drivetrain improvement along the way. So what can we expect from a future i3 when it comes to range and performance? Right now, the all-electric variant of the 2019 i3 has a 42.2 kilowatt-hour battery pack, which has an EPA range of 246 kilometers. In the future, we can expect a more energy-dense battery pack that, if we follow the gradual upgrade path BMW has been putting into its i range of cars, could increase range for the i3 beyond 300 or maybe even 350 kilometers per charge. That wouldn't put the i3 at the head of any range charts, but it would certainly keep the compact city car current. And with BMW focusing on its mainstream brand and electrifying the same, I think the i3 will continue for a little while in a similar marketplace to BMW's Mini brand, selling in major cities where size and style are more important than road tripping or huge luggage carrying capabilities. They are more important in other markets. Are you glad to see the i3 stick around? What changes would you like to make to it if you could? And when do you think it will ultimately end its production? Let me know below. That's it. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to help us make more videos like this, please do like, comment and subscribe. Send us a couple of dollars our way every month through Patreon. Tip us to a coffee with Ko-fi, or indeed send us some money to help with our hotel bills at the LA Auto Show through Ko-fi, or visit our swag store. I'll be back soon with more content for you all to enjoy, but until then, keep evolving.